Hello, everyone. Welcome to Durrett Steak. I hope you had a wonderful weekend and a wonderful Memorial Day. And um, salute to all the military people who have served our country. I'm very grateful for you. And let's get started with some sports talk. So, I want to talk about my thoughts on the different series so far. So, let's start off with the game that happened last night between the Jazz and the Grizzlies. So once again, the Jazz made the clutch plays in the fourth quarter to win both games on the road and take the 3-1 lead going back to Salt Lake City for Game 5. Last week, a lot of people have some doubts about the Jazz after they lost Game 1. Then you have NBA analysts like Kendrick Perkins, yes, I'm calling him out, who says Memphis will win the series. It's like, that's a classic example of riding the hype, or more specifically, the momentum train. I said, as long as Mitchell's healthy, the Jazz will win this series because they are the better team. In fact, the only series in the West, which may go Game 5, depending on what happens tomorrow, is that they're going to be the only West team to go 5 games. So, and they basically would have, swept the Grizzlies if Donovan Mitchell would have played in Game 1, basically. So, again, don't ride the hype train. It's just like, don't ride the momentum train. You can look at the series for what it is, and for what it is, the Jazz are just a better team than the Grizzlies as of right now, and that's why they're doing well in the series. So now let's go on to the Sixers Wizards game from yesterday. So it's it's sad that we had another dumb fan incident, but I'm not going to get into that. So I predicted a Sixers sweep. And for those of you who said I was wrong, you didn't watch the game. If Embiid never had gotten hurt in the first quarter, it would have been a sweep. But Wizards caught a break and they took advantage of it. Now, if Embiid does not go play in Game 5, can the Wizards take advantage of that again? Maybe, maybe not. Doubt it. But the longer the series drags out, the more interesting then it'll become. So the Bucks ended up sweeping the Heat, which is a little bit surprised, but looking back, it actually should. So the reason why that I feel like the Bucks definitely deserve to win this series is because you got to compare it to how this series was played last year in the bubble versus to now. So for the Miami Heat, you had Tyler Hero, who performed very well in the bubble, but for some reason was a shell of himself this year and played horribly. But then when you look at the roster, it's like you had Jay Crowder, and who's a good defensive player, good veteran, presence, and then Kelly Olynyk, who's a good offense player. So, and then you traded them, and your replacements is Trevor Ariza, who's out of his prime, who's not as good as he once was back with Houston, and then Kelly Olynyk. I mean, not Kelly Olynyk. I mean, then Deadman, who he's a like a decent center. He's no scrub by any means, but he's not Kelly Olynyk offensively. So you basically downgrade your roster. While if you're Milwaukee, you get Drew Holiday in the offseason and trade Eric Bledsoe away, which I love. Eric Bledsoe, in my opinion, was holding them back. Like Drew Holiday's definitely an upgrade over him. Then you get Brian Forbes, who is a shooter and was making mostly every shot in the series as your backup point guard. And then you get Bobby Portis to come off the bench, and then you acquire PJ Tucker to come off the bench. So you got 4 additional good players right there versus the Heat, who basically lost 2 good players. So looking back, it's obvious why the Bucks won this series. They were supposed to win it. Now sweep, yeah, didn't do that. Like for example, Heat would have won Game 1. I feel like the Bucks would have won next 4. It could have been 5 games, but again, the Bucks definitely deserve to win that one. So the other team that the Bucks are going to play in the next round most likely is the Nets. I was shocked that the Celtics won a game, but I mean, it took a 50-pointer from Jason Tatum and a great game from Marcus Smart in order to pull that off, though. Otherwise, my prediction of a sweep would have been right. But once again, in Game 4, though, the Nets show that the series will end tonight. I'm in Brooklyn, and get ready for a fun matchup next round. Now here's a series that's caught my attention. New York, stand up! New York, stand up! Oh, Knicks fans. Um, Sucks to suck, doesn't it? Now, I picked the Knicks in 6 because I thought the Knicks defense, was so good in regular season. I thought that would carry over. And then also, I didn't trust, Hawks coach Nate McMillan in the playoffs specifically because he's never performed in the playoffs well. Um, but so far, I mean, Nate McMillan has shown he can at least outcoach Tom Thibodeau. And also, the Knicks defense is non-existent when they can't score, on offense because Atlanta suddenly, playing good defense and just all those things you had to expect. Also, Julius Randle, the most improved player, the best player on the Knicks, has now become, one one of the worst players on the Knicks in the series. So that's why the Hawks have the lead that they have. I mean, I feel like the Knicks can pull out a Game 5 win here, but this series will end in 6 like I predicted. But it just turns out the team with more talent got the better here, and it'll be the Hawks that will win the series. So the series that's kind of been underrated, in my opinion, is the Nuggets and Blazers series. I expect the finish of the series to be good, but again, I expect the Blazers to win this series, and you saw why in Game 4. Even when Damian Lillard has an off night, Portland has more weapons to compensate for that, and it's too much, for the Jamal Murray-less Denver team. All the Blazers have to do is play mediocre defense and they can win, which is an upgrade of the type of defense they usually play. Just play mediocre defense and Blazers should win this series. So for the Mavs Clippers series, it's definitely flipped the script. I didn't get on the bandwagon though of the Mavs sweeping the Clippers in the series. The Mavs are a bottom 10 defensive team in the league, and I know they couldn't keep on shooting around 50% from three. So I felt like there was going to be a drop eventually. Sure enough, now it's happened. In the past, let's say game and a half, because the first half of game 3 was really good. But let's say the past game and a half, the Mavs started shooting less good from three and overall, and their defense has been atrocious. Now, it does not help that Luka is dealing with an injury, but the Clippers, like I predicted before this series, that they were going to win the series, are now looking like they're going to. And I still think it can go 7 games like I predicted, but the Clippers are now the favorite again. Now, if the Mavs lose, and let's say they don't get another win, and they go from being 2-0 down to down 4-2 and lose the series, we talked about the ramifications if the Clippers lost the series. And if the Mavericks lost the series, I think there would be tons of ramifications for them as well, and that we haven't really talked about yet. Let's start off with Mark Cuban. This offseason, he trades Seth Curry, who's having his career year this year, for Josh Richardson. Oh, because, he can score, but he'll help us defensively. Yeah, and that's why Josh Richardson is with the second unit and has really helped the team defensively. Oh, we're going to draft, with our pick in the first round, we're going to draft a defensive player. So, okay. But he's an offensive liability, so he never sees the floor, and basically a waste of a pick there as of right now. Okay. Oh, we're going to trade for J.J. Redick. He's injured, but we're going to hope that he's okay and plays some games, and then he'll help us for the playoffs. But we're going to trade, 2 defensive players of ours in order to get him, because we realize we just want to go back to outscoring people. Well, J.J. Redick hasn't been healthy and hasn't been able to play this series, and now you're suffering defensively for that because again you got rid of James Johnson and the Voodoo that you had, that performed well during that stretch, with a bunch of players had COVID. So, Mark Cuban, you look like a fool. And what doesn't help you, in your case, of not looking like a fool, is that KP has performed. I know he performed well in the bubble last year, but again, like Tyler Hero performed well in the bubble last year, and now he sucks. So the bubble is definitely, there should be like an asterisk mark to a degree. That now I'm not discounting the win from the Lakers or discounting anything from there, but still, like, it's definitely an advantage there. But KP, has basically, games 2, and then last game 4, he's been decent enough, but like games 1, especially 3, he's just been out horrible. And when you're KP, you have to be averaging like 25 points a night and help Luke it out here, but you're not doing it. And then defensively, you're for 7-3 guy defensively, you're one of the worst defensive big mans I've ever seen right now. Like, you're performing so horribly. So now, if you're Mark Cuban, go like if you want to if you decided to trade him or want to trade him, good luck with that. Because now his value is shrinking because A, he can't stay healthy, and then B, you realize, oh, he's not. He's just a decent player. He's not that second banana for a team, so therefore his value is going to be less. Um, so then, good luck with that. Getting a second starter trade or superstar trade for it to play with Luka. You better hope someone just willing comes in free agency. But another big issue is Rick Carlisle. I said it last year multiple times. He's not that great of a coach anymore. Here's the thing. In his championship run, the thing that helped him get to the finals that year was he didn't have to make any adjustments. They took care of the Blazers easily in the first round. They swept the Lakers in the second round. They beat the Thunder in 5 in the conference finals to get to the finals. When you either sweep or win series in 5 games, it doesn't cause you to make a lot of adjustments there. It's pretty easy to just coast on by. And then the finals, you can say, yeah, he made adjustment. He was down 2-1, but let's face it, it's not like he was down 3-1 or he was down 3-2 or he had a game 7 to worry about or anything like that. It's like when he was able to take that 3-2 lead going back, or no, when he was able to take the 3-2 lead going back to Miami for Game 6, the pressure was all on Miami there, and the pressure was on Dallas. And what was Dallas able to do? Basically control Game 6 and win it pretty easily. So he shows he just can't make the adjustments anymore. Unlike Ty Lue, who benched Pat Beverly, gave Ray Jackson more minutes, play small ball, benching Zubac, play platoon. Now that's coaching adjustments right there. I know, Mark Cuban's a logo and all that, but if I'm the Mavs, if Mavs lose, especially lose the next 2 games in a row after being up 2-0, then Rick Carlisle, he must be done. It must be time for a change of coaching. So the Lakers looked good in their series until AD got hurt. Now it's all a big question mark, and the momentum has completely shifted. With groin strains, I don't think AD would be even near 100% for the rest of the series, and CP3 is looking better, which is good for the Suns. But the question is, can LeBron carry this team to a win and keep his first-round win streak alive? Maybe, maybe not. I'm not 100% sure at this point. LeBron's still not 100%. He's getting very old at this point. So he's not what he once was back in Cleveland when he had to carry teams and stuff like that. And I do trust LeBron. It's not like I don't trust LeBron, but right now, I don't trust the rest of the Lakers roster. So if you had to ask me right now, I would say actually my prediction of Lakers winning 7 is not looking good with AD's injuries. So therefore, I think the Suns might actually catch a break here and win the series now. Because again, I just don't trust the Lakers roster at this point. Game 5 will be very telling how the rest of the series will go. So thank you very much for listening to my podcast today. Please subscribe to my channel, tell everyone about me. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful day.